Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. We're running a simultaneous live stream on YouTube and TikTok. Our TikTok friends are here, and hopefully tonight they will honor me by complying with my request, which is traditionally with our YouTube friends. Everyone who joins, they would write in whatever they want to write in. They would also include their age, gender, where they're tuning in from, like M for male, F for female, or however you signify your gender, and then your age, and which city or country you're tuning in from. That gives me a little bit of cultural background, your age, and how to address you, connect with you, and answer your questions according to the age and stage of life you are. We'll be talking about thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, talking about breakups, why you feel the way you do, what are the role of your inner movement of your psyche when you're going through the breakup, and how you can move on, and the perspective about it all. And you can ask questions about your relationships. And also we extend and expand into OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and subsets of OCD, and HOCD, and the components that are involved in this glitch, in this malfunction, in this disorder. And we'll discuss the findings of experts such as Dr. Schwartz and the 4 steps, how to rewire your brain to through neuroplasticity and get out of that jam that you feel so depressed about. We talk about experiments of Dr. Speary, Dr. Penfield, Dr. Libet, Dr. Owen, and from philosophical point of view, since the Aristotle time, 1,000 years ago, to how modern science have proven beyond the shadow of doubt that you're not the brain and brain is not you, and how you can move on from all these intrusive thoughts and so on, and get your balance back and enjoy your life again as you wish it to be. So these are the topics that we are framing our discussions on, and you're welcome to fire up your questions when it's convenient for you. But don't forget the protocol that I've asked, which is your gender, age, and which city or country you're tuning in from. "15 new messages, but there are no messages. They're just hellos." Okay, hello. Let's see what we have here in YouTube, among YouTube friends. YouTube, we have Deep Duta says, "Sir, please help suffering from HOCD." Now, remember, we asked for age, gender, where you're tuning in from. Deep Duta. So first, let me know those three little info. I'd appreciate that. And do we have any questions from our TikTok? TikTok friends usually don't talk much, do they? they're spectators. And if you don't mind, just like expensive Pat, who kindly has liked the live, please like the live so the algorithm will recognize us and we'll get to have more exposure and reach more people and help more people. And thank you, Cindy, for following. And Deep Tuta says, "I'm a straight person, 18 years old boy." All right, thank you for that. But you didn't tell me where you're tuning in from, which country, which city. And while you do that, I'll read your question. Deep Tuta says, "Sir, please help suffering from HOCD. The images of intrusive thoughts has diminished completely, but the fear of this thought and voices still in brain, how to survive, it's so annoying." It's very annoying, but when there are other things similar to this happens to us, we really don't care. We endure it and we know it's a malfunction. But when it comes to do with something that is very important to us, which is our sexuality inclination, which that makes us who we are, and we're very proud of it, however, whatever it may be, we get really confused in believing the brain. The first thing to do is to understand that you're not the brain, and brain is not you. Brain, like many other organs that we have, liver, kidneys, intestine, so on, it's an organ. It's an apparatus. It has a job. Its job is to make thoughts. When it goes haywire and breaks down, malfunctions in its signaling system, the thoughts that it makes is irrelevant mostly anyhow, but then they don't disappear after the thoughts that are irrelevant, even though irrelevant to you, they show up because these intrusive thoughts show up in every single human being on earth, every single 8.5 or whatever billion that we are. But in midbrain basal ganglia striatum, there's a lever called caudate nucleus. And caudate nucleus's job is to shut down the intrusive thoughts. It knows, it's aware of your values and what's in line with your values, what's not, your principles. And then it shuts it down when the thoughts that are not in line with your values show up. That's its job. But when caudate nucleus, which is a lever, it's designed to automatically to take care of these intrusive thoughts, is malfunctioning, then you got to help the brain to rewire itself to its default setting to get back to its natural movements and functions and to do its duty as it was designed to. So, for that, we have different ways to handle that. But let me get back to the beginning of this discussion when you said these images and so on stuck in my head. If you remember, every one of us in school, in elementary school, childhood, or even when we were older, we notice and we experience something called stuck sound syndrome. You know, when you hear a sound or a rhythm or music or a, some kind of a saying in a movie or whatever it is, that it constantly repeats in your head. You know, like you hear a jingle from TV or from wherever, however it happens. La 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 la, something like that, or anything else. You make it up, whatever your case may be. And you can't get that out of your head. You sleep and you wake up with that. And all through the day, it's that. Then you don't, you know that it's something gone wrong, but you don't get annoyed because it's just a useless but annoying, but really not threatening or not implying anything. It's just annoying. And you know it's a malfunction, this noise or this sound constantly there, this jingle. But when it comes to an image that is not in line with your values, and it suggests that you are something that you're not and you don't prefer to be, you've never been, and you don't want to be, having to do with your sexual orientation, it rattles you. And you rise to stop these thoughts, these images, as if they're actually having any power to change you to something that you're not interested in. But because it doesn't get dissipated because of the malfunction that we just described, you get really antsy, you get really frightened as you think the brain is you and you're the brain. So if the brain suggests such a thing, then it might be true. And you start questioning, oh, I'm in denial. I've always been this. Otherwise, why is it coming into my head? It's coming to your head because so many millions of other things come to your head, has got nothing to do with you. 80, 90,000 thoughts a day, daily comes to your mind and you don't even notice it. And when you do notice it and it's intrusive, it's got nothing to do with you, it's not in line with your values, caudate nucleus recognizes it and says, oh, that was a nasty thought, and boom, it's gone. And you go about your business. But when we have OCD brain and we're in the glitch of OCD and HOCD, subset of OCD, when it shows up these images and these particularly uninvited thoughts, it doesn't dissipate because it's malfunctioning on the gear that is supposed to do its job. And you think, oh my goodness, it means something. No, it just means it's a malfunction and you're supposed to learn how to help your brain to get back to its default setting. So I've got over 3,000 videos on the channel, and maybe 1,000 of it is all about OCD and HOCD, so on. So you can just go on the channel search engine, type in HOCD or OCD and another search HOCD. And you'll see how many videos show up, and read the titles and see which one applies to the question you might be having on that day and watch it. Or you can go on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, mindthatseekstruth.com, and make an appointment for us for a Skype chat, and we'll discuss what's concerning you, whether it's regarding OCD, HOCD, intrusive thoughts, whether it's regarding thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, whether it's concerning breakups, relationships, and so on. We'll discuss it one-on-one on Skype. Together, we'll figure it out. Now, let me go back to the second or other question. Thank you, Deep Duta from India. Appreciate that. And Shoni says, hello. Says, I'm straight female, 20 years old from India. Hello, Shoni. Says, I have HOCD, all right. Says, my mind tells me, tell your mom that you like girls. Okay. I suddenly get scared and anxious. When I get scared and anxious, my mind then starts saying, are you scared because you are gay and you don't want to be? You don't want to come out? And even my mind tells me I will be happy with same gender relationship, which is very, very uncomfortable. Well, your brain, I don't say brain and mind are the same because they're not, but for the sake of this conversation, we can interchange them just to get our conversation going. It doesn't matter what your brain says. As I mentioned to our other caller, the first step to get rid of HOCD or to be able to understand it and manage it is to understand that what your mind or brain suggests is not a deity, is not correct, is not a holy ground. It's an organ that is making suggestions, and its job is to make thoughts. If you want to believe anybody that passes by in the street while you're walking away and doing your business, when they say something about you, if you want to believe that, that has the same credibility that your brain saying something to you, because neither one of them are you, whether the person in the street that utters something about you or your brain utters something about you. They're both another entity, and they're not you and you're not them. You are the awareness. You are that what's telling you, I don't want this. I don't agree with the brain. I don't choose what the brain says. It's uncomfortable to me. It's not natural to me. Because if you were what the brain was suggesting, you wouldn't even bat an eye. It's like my brain or somebody out there says, hey, Mehran, you like girls. Say, yeah, thank you. That's the end of conversation. I wouldn't even notice that thought was made or that suggestion was made because that's in line with my values. I prefer that, I've been that, and I like to be that. So I wouldn't rise to make a conversation out of it. So if you were what the brain would suggest, your awareness would not see a contradiction between you, your awareness, and the brain. It would be one and the same, so you wouldn't even notice it, and you would just live the way you like to live, and that comment would go down very easy on you. But the fact that you rise, you question, and you say something that you have an opinion about what the brain says, which is not in line with your value, you don't prefer it, it's not your preference, that is you, that is judging what the brain has suggested. The brain is not you, you're not the brain. So when the brain suggests something and your awareness sees a contradiction, remember always, there is never an awareness if there is no contradiction. So if you have become aware, you notice that something is not to your liking, it's something that you want to object to, that's your awareness. And that's because there's a contradiction between what you are, what you prefer, and what the brain is suggesting. That contradiction tells you that you're never what the brain suggests in these sort of things, because if you were, you wouldn't even notice, you wouldn't even become aware of any contradiction. So just like if somebody tells me, hey, you like girls, I say, yeah, thank you. No contradiction and no need to discuss it further. But when you discuss it further and question, that tells you you're not what the brain says. Doesn't matter how many times it shows up or gives you suggestions of this or that. All right. Now, again, you guys can go on my site, mind@seekstruth.com. That's where you are. Actually, that's my site. Or you go on my channel and search for your question, a word, OCD or HOCD, and you'll see the videos and you'll choose from them according to titles and then answer your questions. Or you can go on my site, mind@seekstruth.com. Make an appointment for us for Skype consultation and we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype. And Penguin is here. Let's see if our TikTok friends have any questions. They usually don't. They're just listeners most of the time. And don't forget, guys, please do click on like whether TikTok or YouTube, so we'll be able to have a little bit of exposure from the algorithm. and then we'll be able to reach more people and help more people. So, what do we have here? And Shazam says no one cares. All right, then you're welcome to leave the chat and spend your time in a positive way for yourself. All right, let's see. Well, okay, TikTok friends don't have any questions. They're just here, kind enough to join us. If you do, then I need to know your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. And it says, encourage your viewers to share your live and invite more friends. Well, I'm encouraging you. Please go ahead and invite your friends and tell them that we have live. All right, let's go back to YouTube. Deep Duta. I can't turn this into a one-on-one consultation, Deep Duta, but just the question that you had, uh, please talk about false attraction. I have a video on most all of these questions. So go on my channel, just type in attraction or false, either one of the words. You'll see the number of videos that come in. It choose from it. It addresses your question for you. You can watch it in the convenience of your time and your home. So we can go on with questions that people might have here. Otherwise, that's a long discussion. And Penguin says, hello, sir. It's me, Penguin, 18, female from India. Hello, Penguin. So, sir, how do I stop repetitive compulsions? Repetitive compulsion, what's the obsession? You got to focus on the obsession. Says, my repetitive compulsion is included with HOCD. Okay, I need a little bit more than that. Repetitive compulsion. Well, all obsessions, when you have OCD, has compulsion, and you keep doing it. If you don't seem to get enough dopamine by doing the compulsion for the obsession, but you gotta. I'm not quite sure what your question is, but I have something that relates to it that I'm going to explain to you. You got to pay attention to understand why is it that you are repeating the compulsion, if that is your question. In midbrain basal ganglia, there is a place called the striatum. In the striatum, there are three centers, among other things. One is called goal-finding center. Goal-finding center, such as if you have a obsession to that you have a dirty hands, even though your hands are not dirty, but you have obsession that my hands are dirty. The compulsion would be the goal-finding center. The compulsion would be the goal-finding, the goal of it, which is washing your hands. The compulsion is the goal. So when you attend to this obsession by complying to its need for compulsion, which is washing your hand, then the second center, which is reward center, will reward you for this comfort that you created by doing the compulsion for the obsession. So when you do wash your hands, when you think your hands are dirty and you're uncomfortable, even though your hands are not dirty, but the obsession causes you to do the compulsion, you get this feeling of comfort, which is, my hands are clean now. That feeling is actually at the same time when the reward center is secreting dopamine. Now, you get obsession again, you do another compulsion, and you get another shot of dopamine. And dopamine is addictive, right? So the more you do the compulsion, the more dopamine you're getting every time you do it. And therefore, pretty soon, you're addicted to getting the dopamine. So no longer you will be washing your hands, the compulsion, just because of the obsession. You're doing it also to get the dopamine because you're now addicted to get that feeling. And when you feel that, you feel great. Everything is balanced and good. But that's in fact is a dopamine that's hitting you. Now, funny enough, that every time that you do the compulsion, at the same time you're stimulating the reward center, the second center in the striatum. But lo and behold, that without your knowledge, you're also stimulating the third center, which is the habit center. And at the same time that you're getting addicted to the dopamine, you keep doing the compulsion for the obsession and for the dopamine, and you get addicted to that, you're also stimulating the habit center. And after a couple of thousand times of doing this whole thing, no longer you're doing it just for the obsession, and no longer you're doing it just for the getting the dopamine. You're doing it because it's your habit. You don't even care. You don't even know why you're doing it. You just think you got to do it. That's when you get to that repetition of the compulsion, that you constantly do it. At the beginning, you keep doing it more than you should because you want to get that assurance and awe feeling. And after a while, you're doing it because it has become your habit. According to the study of Professor Anne Grable at MIT, and her, actually, I think it was her just pioneered this study, that cluster of movements and actions by the brain to the brain is only one movement. In other words, if you see a man going to a tobacco store and buying a cigarette package, paying for it, opening a cellophane wrap, cutting top of the package, taking one cigarette out, putting on his lips, firing up a lighter, fire 2 inches from his lips, and then you go to that man and say, sir, do you realize they just went to the store, paid for it, bought it, tear it apart, took one out, put it in there, and fired close to? He says, no, I just know that I'm smoking. To that person, the cluster of all these movements translates only one movement to the brain, which is smoking. So the habit doesn't let you really realize any reasons. You're just doing it because it has become your habit. So that's why it's important. Before an OCD action, before an obsession becomes a habit from just needing a compulsion to get rid of it, but the compulsion leads to dopamine center being stimulated, and continuously doing that results into habit center being stimulated, and before you know it, it becomes more difficult to get rid of that simple OCD. If you would have recognized the role of the brain and the difference between the brain and you, and you're the awareness, you're not the brain and brain is not you, and having proven these to you through the philosophical point of view and plus the scientific point of view, the modern science having proven it by the experiences that Dr. Libet, Dr. Speary, Dr. Penfield, Dr. Owens have done, which is these are the Nobel Prize echelons of type of studies, you will become aware that indeed you're not the brain and brain is not you. So what the brain makes you to do is got nothing to do with what you are, who you will be, or if you're changing anything or whatnot. It's because simply you are not the brain, brain is not you, and it is not something that you should find it relevant to you just because the brain says so. Brain is an organ, is an apparatus, and there is nothing to do with who you are. It's just doing its malfunctioning job, and they got to help it to rewire itself through neuroplasticity by learning how to do that. Whether it's CBT or it's ERP or it's the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz, these are all ways for you to understand you're not the brain, brain is not you. You're the awareness, and the brain is an organ. And simply you go from there and train the brain to do what it's supposed to do instead of all these hooplas that it brings to your life. All right. My goodness, our TikTok friends never have a question. That is amazing. What are you guys doing here then? If you don't have a question. At least my YouTube friends, they always have questions, tons of them. So some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community of, for heaven's sake, stop protecting the community. We know what we do respond or don't respond to. You don't have to decide for us. Suddenly, all these apparatuses have become the moral compass of the world. Some nut job sitting somewhere and following some governmental guidelines, and suddenly they've become the teachers for the values and what people wish to choose or not wish to choose. Community guideline. All right. And so we have Nikki Licios, I hope I didn't butcher your name, says, I am in Canada. Welcome. So where are you? Me too. I'm in Canada as well. Canada's a big place. I'm in the West Coast. And Shubhi says, what's going on? Not much, really. We're just talking about small things such as relationship breakups, thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, components of the brain involved in OCD and OCD subset. Nothing that you might find interesting, guys. Okay, no questions here. So I'll go back to all right. Penguin says, well, aside from all this, how your life going, Mehran, sir? Is everything fine? Well, thank you very much for asking, dear. Well, life has its own ups and downs. Every day I visit my mother at the care center. She's 90 some odd years old. And it's just very concerning and sad to see your beautiful, strong mother now at the age that she's like a child and very vulnerable. And all day long, she's waiting for me to arrive and spend 2, 3 hours with her. So for that, after visiting mom, I jump into the gym and try to bring my mood up, energy change, and do workouts, and then come home and do my things and my work and my clients. So life has its own concerns and um, moments, like everybody else in the world. And thank you for asking. All right. We've been here for 36 minutes, and I'll be here for a little bit longer. And let's see if we have any questions from our TikTok friends. I'm amazed that usually on TikTok, when I finish the live streams, it shows me that 600, 700 viewers. But participants are very nominal, like maybe a few questions from TikTok. But of course, YouTube is always filled with questions and very lively. The TikTok friends are mostly watching or listening. I wonder. Now, don't forget to like the program, guys, both on TikTok and on YouTube. So again, somehow, this channel, as you all know, has over 3,000 videos, and all the videos are elaborate discussions and details. There's no teasers there just to make you buy something or whatnot. However, somehow, instead of 2 or 3 million subscribers, we only have 28,000 subscribers. Somehow, I guess we are shadow banned. And I know people who find my channel, they swear by it, and they just wonder why they didn't find it 10 years earlier or 2 years earlier or whatnot. And my question is, why is it not found? So, with this kind of a content, second to none, and I'm unanimous on that, I wonder, why is it that we are not circulating enough to have everyone the chance to find solutions to their challenges? And that's a question. All right. So I'm going to give you a short break, and I'll go and warm up my tea, and I'll be right back, guys. All right. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind@seekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.
Damn, I thought she is the one. Everything was all good. She suddenly turned as if I was no longer who I was anymore. Why did she do that? Why do I feel so devastated? How can I feel better? How can I understand what is going on in my head? How can I go on? I will never fall in love again. Ah, things finally make sense. I now understand why she did what she did, and why I feel so shitty about it all, and why I miss her so much. I now know how to not miss her, and how to move on and build a better me, more confident and more aware of the role of my thoughts, consciousness, desires, fears, and ego in my relationship, and how I feel after a breakup. I got to talk to him or watch his videos on YouTube.
It may all seem like a mystery to you right now, but you can always go to my YouTube channel where you will find over 300 videos on this subject and more. You can find out exactly why you feel the way you do and why your thoughts are the way they're reacting and the role of your psyche in all this. Plus, how to feel good again, become strong and get your confidence back and ready to move on. And more importantly, how to move on. And you will certainly be fine once you know how your mind works, dear. If you still needed to talk to me one-on-one, that's always possible through my site, mind@seekstruth.com. There you can book a Skype consultation time for us and we can chat about what's concerning you. This is what I do with all people who need it from all around the world. All right, we are back and I have a brand new tea. So, any new questions from either our YouTube friends or TikTok friends? My TikTok friends still quiet. I'm amazed. We only have a number of participants on YouTube, but we have all kind of questions. We have 600 participants on TikTok and no questions. Okay. That's novel. Okay. Remember, guys, this channel, this live stream is not a lecture. So unless you guys have a question, I won't be saying anything. When you have a question, then we'll have a discussion. And if I don't have question for the next few minutes, then I guess it would be time for me to move on and attend to other matters so we can use our time efficiently, and perhaps we'll have another live stream some other day. Okay. If you guys are waiting for me to have a lecture here, I don't. I'll wait for another 2-3 minutes. If you have no other questions, we have answered all questions today. And we'll just go on, and hopefully we'll have another live stream later on when you guys have more questions. So I think 3 more minutes, and that would be my limit for tonight. And we did pretty good. We had a bunch of questions, and very valuable questions, and we answered them. So, all right. It's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here and giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to our next live stream. In the meantime, be good to yourself, to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind@seekstruth.com, making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.